Good evening once again, promotion candidate. You are most welcome once again. This evening, we'd like to touch on a very serious area for our promotion candidates, especially those who are going to write assistant director one and deputy directors. You are most likely to meet these questions again in your promotion aptitude test that is coming on, and you need to be very careful with these areas to help you pass the promotion exams. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button, subscribe, like, share with your friends, and let us pass the promotion aptitude test together. So we are going to look at some interesting questions that you need to focus on once again to help you pass the promotion exams, especially my senior um, colleagues who are going to write the GD aptitude test. Be very careful with these questions. They will help you if you actually go through these questions very well. So let's jump into a few questions to look at them this evening to help us pass our promotion exams. So number one that we are going to deal with is this question. So theory, the the um, on theories of learning, they are very important. You need to take note of them. So we're going to look at them to help you pass your promotion exams. So according to BF Skinner um, operant conditioning theory, a negative reinforcement is known as what? Or is explained as avoiding any undesirable stimulus to increase the likelihood of a behavior repeating. So avoiding example like a cane in a classroom or removing the cane in the classroom motivate the learners to help. So this is a negative reinforcer. So when we say a negative reinforcer, something that is negative that you have taken out of the classroom, and it helps taking that thing away from the classroom helps the learners to learn. So if you want your learners to learn, don't introduce a cane in the classroom or anything that is negative that affects or that draw their attention from learning is a negative reinforcement. So if you take a cane from classroom and you motivate them, they will learn. So take very good note of this question. So negative reinforcement is avoiding undesirable stimulus to increase the likelihood of a behavior happening or repeating. So if you avoid the cane, you remove the cane from the classroom, it helps the learners to learn. So in a classroom management, the teacher's strategies and technique must be what? Must be varied. You must change your methods, your techniques, or your way of teaching in other way around to help your learning. So you must vary your teaching methods, your teaching techniques, your teaching strategies to help your learners to learn well. So vary your lessons all the time. Change or use so many different multiple ways of presenting your information to the learners to help them get whatever you want them to learn. The ultimate purpose of supervision is to ensure the advancement of the child welfare or the child learning. It is because of wanting to improve the learning outcome in the classroom or in the education. That is why supervision is most important. So if you want your learners to learn or to get to achieve or to get a better results, proper supervision must be done. That's why the private schools, because they have a very robust supervisory system, that's why they are performing better And if we have that same in the public schools, we are also going to get that performance in the public school. So the ultimate purpose of supervision is to ensure that to ensure advancement of the learners' welfare or the learning or the learners in the classroom. So it's very important. So which of the sustainable development goal is directly related to education? This question keep on appearing, keep on repeating year in, year out, but people are still getting it wrong. So make sure that you are able to um, get this one into your head before you go and write your promotion exam. So the sustainable development goal that directly relate to education is the goal 4. I'll take time to look at the targets of the sustainable development goals. It has about 10 targets that it's outlined for education to be achieved. So take good note of it. So what does the sustainable development goal which directly relate to education state? It states that um, it ensures inclusive and equitable quality education for all. So what it does or its main aim is to ensure that inclusive and equitable quality education is for all learners. So take good note of. Now let's look at the computerized school selection and placement system seeks to improve the manual system of selections and placement of qualified BEC candidates into public and private senior high schools, technical and vocational um, institute by Ghana Education Service. So the agency that brought about this computerized school um, placement system was GS that instituted um, with the aim of releasing or removing all barriers during the time of sending senior high school or sending BC candidates to the senior high school. This agency was instituted, or this policy was instituted to move all barriers that parents go through, challenges that parents go through to send their awards to the free senior high school or they send it to the secondary school. And it's instituted by Ghana Education Service. The United Nations General Assembly proclaimed 24th January as an International Day of Education in celebration of the role of what? The role of education for peace and development. So the reason why the 24th January every year is instituted as the International Day of Education is to celebrate the role of education for peace and development. If a lot of people are um, educated, there's peace, or they try to accept peace, try to accommodate peace, and try to accommodate development or try to seek development in their communities. So it's very, very important. That's why education is very key in every country's development. The rationale of educational planning in our education system is what? The rationale, the purpose, the aim, the goal of our educational planning is educational planning or education planning in our education system is to help learners have access to education, have learners have equity to education, and learners have quality education at all levels. So to have access, the rationale of educational planning in our education system is to have access, to have equity, and to have quality in our educational system. So it's very, very important that we look at this. Now, the primary role of mentoring teacher in the school of pre-service teacher is most appropriately described as what is described as mentoring or mentoring. The basic, another question that you may also face is the basic purpose of instructional supervision is to have effective teaching and learning. The reason why um, we supervise instruction or we have instructional supervision is to ensure that effective teaching and learning is done in the classroom by the teachers. And you need to know this before you go and write your promotion exams. Then when a school head directs an investigation into a suspected fraud, the only authorities to impose the sanction is uh, in the basic school, it is the school management committee. And when we are talking about the secondary school, it is the board of governors. The board of governors, they are the rightful authority to pronounce sanctions on those who have embezzled funds or those who have misappropriated funds. So it is the school management committee and the board of governance that can punish those who have misappropriate, misappropriated funds and the rest. Now, let's look at another question. Very interesting questions, but if you are not careful with them, you may find problem with your promotion aptitude test. The method of obtaining information to judge the wealth of a curriculum while it is being implemented is known as what? So, in the process of the implementation of the curriculum, information is obtained to judge the wealth of the curriculum while implementation is ongoing. This is done, or this is done to know whether the program that you have implemented is going on well or not. And it's termed as curriculum evaluation. So curriculum evaluation is a situation or is a method of obtaining information to judge the wealth of the curriculum while it is being implemented. So take good note of it. It's very important. Then another question that you may also face or you may likely to face is this one. That is the most interesting one. So the ability for students to use an appropriate rule or principle to help him or her solve a problem without being promoted is specified to the cognitive development of Benjamin Bloom's taxonomy. So, if a learner is able to use the learning ideas in the classroom or a principal by herself or himself to solve a problem without being promoted is specified in the cognitive domain of the Bloom taxonomy as the person is applying the knowledge. The person is applying the knowledge that he or she has acquired, or that is application of knowledge. Take it. So if the person is using the knowledge, using the ideas that he has learned in the classroom, or a principle or a rule to help solve a problem in a different situation, that one the learner is applying the knowledge or application of knowledge. Then the next one, most important one, the type of assessment which is used to determine the student's strengths and the student's weaknesses from correction and remediation is known as what? This type of assessment is used to determine the learner's strength, the learner weaknesses, um, from correction and remedial is known as diagnostic assessment. When you're using diagnostic assessment, you are trying to identify the strength of the learner and identify the weakness or the weak point of the learner and use correctional methods to correct the learner challenges or use a remediation to correct the learner challenges. So diagnostic assessment. Then the next one is in the chain of command of GS headquarters. The Director General is the Chief Executive accountable to which body? The Director General is accountable to which body? Leave your answer in the comment section. This one I will not provide the answer. The Director General is responsible to which body in the GS command chain? Put it in the comment section. This answer I will not provide it. So, what is the core function of the national school, the National School Inspectorate Board? It has three functions, three basic functions of the NASIA, the National School Inspectorate Board. One is to undertake school inspection. So they go around and inspect the private and public schools, both the basic and the senior high, and mostly the senior high. Then two, evaluate the schools, and the last one is to set and enforce standard in the school. These are the things that the NASIA do. The main role of education sector analysis is to identify the progress made in the pre-tertiary institutions. So the role of the education sector analysis is to identify the progress made in the pre-tertiary school. It is very, very important that um, the ESA does. So the work that it does is that to identify the progress made in the pre-tertiary institution. Then last but one, the Ghana Education Service was established in the year 1974 as a national organization under the Ministry of Education by what act? By Act 506. So the act that established Ghana Education in 1974 is Act 506 of 1995. Very, very important. Then the last one to tackle before we bring the whole tutorials to a close is it is important for teachers to know the code of conduct. Because why is it the reason for the teachers to know the code of conduct? Or in every profession, there's a code of conduct. Why is it necessary for teachers to know the code of conduct? It's provide a guidance for teachers in the performance of their duties. So these are some of the questions that we need to look at before we go and write promotion aptitude test. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share with friends who are going to write the promotion exams. Thank you and God bless you. Have a nice evening.